Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sanjana and today I will be sharing my data science journey. So before I dive into my data science journey, I want to share this disclaimer that in no way am I trying to give any career advice or suggestions of how you should pursue your own careers in data science, or what you need to do, how you need to plan ahead. This video has nothing to do with those things. I am purely sharing my data science journey with you because I really wanted to give you a deeper look into my professional life, and hopefully that sparks something in you, inspires you, or my learnings help you in any way possible. But again, this is not any sort of informational video. I am definitely not qualified to be giving any sort of career advice. But yes, this is just my own journey within this field. So, I want to start my data science journey right from the very beginning, which is my education. I did my schooling and my bachelor's from India. I did my 10th and 12th grade from a CBSE school. And in my 12th standard, I studied physics, chemistry, and mathematics as my core subjects. And I did my chosen elective in informatics practices. Post high school, I went ahead and did my bachelor's in mathematics with a minor in economics. Now, I really want to point out that in no way did I choose to study math with the forethought of doing data science as a career, or pursuing data science as a career. I chose to study math solely because math was truly the only subject that has ever made perfect sense to me, both intellectually but also intuitively. And also, I think after high school, I think the Indian educational ecosystem kind of pushes you to pursue like very specified programs. So because I did PCM in my high school, I guess I thought that engineering was kind of the only option for me and like the only career path. But deep down, I always knew that I suck at physics. I do not enjoy it. I can't wrap my head around physics for the most part. So I knew deep down that I think I'll make a very, very terrible engineer. But math has kind of always excited me, and it's always made a lot of sense to me, and it just felt very natural. And I also realized that I have a knack for it. So that's basically the biggest reason for me to pursue a bachelor's in math. And yes, of course, it also helped that I had a scholarship to pursue my bachelor's program, so that also helped my case. So, yes, I went into pursuing my bachelor's with a very open mind, just wanting to do more math. Basically, there was nothing else. I hadn't planned anything ahead. I explored different courses. I spoke to a lot of seniors, a lot of professors, kind of explored everything that was offered at my university. And for the most part of my bachelor's, I stuck to doing more of pure math. In fact, I even went to the extent of pursuing graduate level difficult courses just to see what that feels like. And although I really enjoyed the classes themselves, I did one research project during my bachelor's, and that kind of made me realize that I don't think academia is necessarily something that I want to pursue. Like, it didn't feel like 100% yes for me when I did that research project. When it came to pursuing a career in academia, so that kind of sowed in some seeds of doubt if an academic career is really something that I want to pursue. And that was around my third year of my bachelor's, and that was kind of when I realized that, okay, maybe let's try doing some more applied math courses and see what that end of things look like. So that was kind of when I started picking up more courses in economics. That's when I did many courses in probability, statistics, game theory, econometrics as well. And I also made this very conscious decision to do my bachelor thesis in, let's say, an applied area of game theory. It was still very much, let's say, the approach towards my bachelor thesis was still very much pure, but very much, let's say, pure math. But in the end, I did orient my thesis in the sense that you could have some real world insights and applications to it. So I guess that was my way of being at the sweet spot of doing pure math but also making it relevant to the real world. And I had a lot of fun doing that thesis. I really enjoyed it a lot, and that helped me realize that, okay, maybe applied math is somewhere that I want to be. And the fact that I did a minor in economics also really helped, because I also saw what it means to apply the math into something that's more tangible. And I think that made me very happy on the inside as well. Once I finished my bachelor's in math, I made a conscious decision again to pursue a master's in econometrics, because again, it was at the intersection of math and economics, and it kind of made sense as a natural progression of what I wanted at the time, because while I was not fully sure if I wanted to pursue an academic career, I was also not fully against it at the time. And I think I basically wanted more time to figure out whether I really want to do a PhD or if I just want to work in the industry. So econometrics felt like the time that I could buy. It was a very strategic decision to pursue my master's in econometrics as well, because you can both have a very academic career after that master's program, but you can also easily move on to the industry if you really want to. So I kept both doors open, again with a very open mind. I just wanted to see what it is that I really want to do. So yes, that's when I moved to the Netherlands as well, and I did my master's in econometrics and data science. And again, in my master's, because I was on the fence between academia and industry, I went really all out to see and make up my mind on what it is that I really want to do in the near future. So I was hell bent on doing an internship, and I wanted to do my master thesis as an internship. So around midway of my master's, I was rigorously applying to different thesis internships, and I landed my internship at Nielsen, which also was my first workplace. My goal with the internship was to figure out whether industry is a place that I really want to be, whether I actually enjoy working in the industry, what it feels like to even have a job, what it feels like to work with a team, work with colleagues, work with real world problems, and also, like, I wanted to know if this is a workplace that I see myself working later on, even after the internship. So it was kind of like a litmus test in many ways for me. And I was actually very, very happy at the end of my internship. I kind of knew that I do not want to pursue an academic career, or at least for the near future again, because while I really enjoyed working within a team, working within a company, and working with other colleagues, the thesis itself was pretty stressful, again for multiple reasons. I think the fact that I was alone abroad, struggling with finding student housing and wanting to wrap up my thesis while figuring out my future as well, all those things kind of made the entire duration of thesis very, very stressful for me. But even generally, I don't think I enjoyed doing that kind of a rigorous time-bound academic research component in my masters, and that kind of, yeah, it kind of fit in the puzzle of, okay, I've been running away from academia for this long, which means that probably academia is not where I really want to be. And I think more important than that was the fact that I loved my thesis internship. I had a great time at Nielsen. I loved my colleagues. I was really curious about the kind of problems that they were working on. And even generally as a workplace, I felt like I really fit well in there. And I was in general more curious to explore what it feels like to have a job, to work a 9 to 5 and apply the skills that I've learned throughout my education in a workplace. So I decided that I want to continue working at Nielsen even after my internship. And I got a full-time offer after that. And that's how Nielsen ended up becoming my first ever workplace, my first ever job. Now, again, I do want to point out that it was not all hunky-dory, that I was great at my internship and my colleagues loved me and therefore they offered me a job. No. While my internship was very exciting, was a lot of fun, and I was well received as an intern, I had to really put myself out there and be proactive and take initiative on actually asking around if there are open positions within the team, within the company that I would be a good fit for. So it didn't automatically come from the company itself, but it was me who kind of, let's say, rolled the ball towards getting an offer in the end. So yes, I had to take the initiative there, and I think that itself was like my first ever learning, which was that I just have to ask, and a lot of times that is enough, and I can't just keep waiting for things to happen. I need to take initiative. So yes, that's how my first job happened, and I would say that I was very, very lucky. My first job was, I would say, for a first job, it was a dream job. I had wonderful colleagues. I got to learn so much, and in general, I'd say I had a very, very steep learning curve because there was just so much to learn. I had to learn how it is to work with other colleagues, what it is to work agile, what it is to work with different kinds of tech stack, what it is to work with clients, what does it mean to deliver data science results or reports, what it means to handle client expectations, what does it really mean to apply all the math and statistics that I have studied to a real world scenario, what does it mean to extract insights from data, and what does it mean to answer business questions from the data that I have in front of me. It was like learning the ABCs of data science. And I learned a lot, and I'm very, very grateful for the experience that I had there. And it was also a very introspective journey for me because so much was changing within the data science industry. It was while I was at this job that AI became a very big thing, and I luckily had the opportunity to also find myself some time to pick up AI as like a skill of mine. So yes, overall, Nielsen was a great first job for me. But along my time at Nielsen, I realized that I really, really, really enjoy building things. And I realized that that's what I want to do as my next step in my career. So I looked around for opportunities again, and I landed at my current workplace, which is again the university that I did my master's in. So at my current job, I do something that's very, very different from what I did at Nielsen. At Nielsen, it was a lot more focused on client projects and working for other companies on marketing and analysis and brand analysis, and more, let's say, it was more close to the ad tech industry. But I currently now focus more on building and prototyping and building products and building solutions for the university. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun at my current job right now. And yes, so that's where I'm at right now. And along this journey, I've had a lot of different learnings, a lot of learnings that I feel like I will carry with me for the rest of my career. And I really want to share those with you guys now. Okay, so the first learning that I had was to approach my job with an open mind. I have stuff written down here, so I will be looking down on my notes when I talk about my learnings. So, my first learning is that approach your job with an open mind, approach your first job with an open mind. I think what I realized was that no job is 100% perfect, and you kind of have to pick and choose your battles, and you have to pick and choose what your non negotiables are and what you prioritize the most and what you are willing to tolerate, right? Because again, no job is perfect. Some jobs will have erratic work hours, some jobs will have terrible pay but amazing culture, some jobs will have really exciting projects but zero work life balance. So it's really what you want from that job and also from that point of your career, because I can imagine that your priorities shift as you grow in your career or as you move from one stage to another in life. So I think at every stage, knowing what you really really want from your next job, and what you are willing to tolerate, I think that kind of gives you a mental picture as well, as to what you want and what you're willing to like live with, and also gives you some peace of mind because you're not constantly trying to optimize everything that you get from a job. So yes, that was my first learning. My second learning was that data science is actually not about coding up models and working with fancy tech. I know that the first thing that meets the eye when it comes to a data science job is what programming languages you use, what kind of models are you using, what kind of machine learning algorithms that you apply to a job, and what is your tech stack, right? And like the engineering aspects of it as well. But ultimately, the core foundation of data science is using data as a means to answer a question or to solve a problem. So while data is like the core aspect of solving the problem, it's again just is just a means to actually answer a question, and your whole focus is just to answer that specific question with data. So while the tech stack and the programming skills and the code themselves are very very important to solve the problem, there is also the problem that is the main focus. So I think what I learned was to balance both those things, which is to actually think more deeply about the problem itself before diving deep into coding and to just apply models. So that definitely was my second biggest learning in my first job. Okay, so my third learning is that looking deep into data and anything and being able to critically examine it, um, I think this is one of the skills that AI cannot replace, because looking at something critically, I think, is very important. Like, as much as it's it's good to know what a model can do or what a specific approach can do, I think it's also really really important to know what it cannot do and what are the shortcomings that it comes with. And I feel like this is something that can be applied to a lot of aspects in a job, not just to data science but also to basically any decision that comes with that comes within your professional career, because a lot of decisions that we make within data science may not even have to do with data, right? Like for instance, right now in my job, a lot of my decisions are to choose what metrics to share and what metrics to not share. While that does have to do a little bit with data, it's more to do with the audience that this metrics are going to be shared with. Is it really useful to them? Is it insightful to them? Or is something else more meaningful to them? Does sharing this insight actually help them achieve the thing that they're really looking for? Like, so these kinds of user oriented questions do not necessarily have to do with the data that you're examining, but just your ability to be critical and to think deeply about problems and decisions and then make an informed decision. I think that is what stands out. So that was definitely one of the other important things that I did learn. The next big thing on this list is finding your niche as a data scientist. Okay, so this is, I guess it's a little controversial because it's not easy, because data science itself is a spectrum, right? It's not a specific role where the description of that role kind of stays static across every job or every industry. So you can be a data scientist in company A and be doing one thing, and in company B and be doing something completely different. And there are also other roles, right? Like a machine learning engineer or a data analyst or a BI specialist, right? There are so many roles that you can even see within the industry itself. So I think it's important to eventually pick a niche. I don't think you should do that in the first job, but I think it's nice to like have that in the back of your mind to see what it is that you truly like, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, how do you want to use all of that to your advantage, and what do you want to do with it. Because in my first job I was kind of like this lost child in a crowd that was very curious and excited about everything that was happening in the workplace, but also like very confused about what do I want and where do I fit. And I did definitely use my first job to answer the question as to what is it that I truly enjoy, what is it that I want from my career, at least what is it that I want from this stage of my career. So that, I think that deep introspection kind of helped me understand who I am, what my values are, what are those values that are very non-negotiable for me and that I really expect from the organization that will be my workplace. So I think that level of thinking was something that helped me figure out what my next step in my career is. And again, this niche can keep changing as well, right? It's not like I pick a niche and stick with it for the rest of my career, because like I said, AI has kind of taken up the world right now, and whether we like it or not, all of us are having to pick up AI as a skill right now, and that in itself has become a niche at this point. So yeah, it's not that you stick with the niche that you pick for the rest of your life, but I think it's just nice to have this question in the back of your mind with any job. And yeah. Okay, so the next learning that I had, which I think, honestly, I would say this was the most life-changing moment for me, which was to find yourself at least one mentor. Because I have like 2 or 3 different mentors within data science, and they changed my life, I think, when it comes to my career. And I would really say that having a mentor at least in your first job, is very important, because I feel like you can have a very myopic view of what data science or any career looks like, because your entire worldview is just your job at that point. Whereas having a mentor will help you kind of broaden that view and help you gain more breadth rather than go deeper into your specific organization or the specific day-to-day activities that you do within your job. So for me, that was really helpful because I could talk and interact with people in my field that have a very different view of the field itself. They kind of showed me what else is out there for me, and that actually helped me with the previous learning, which is for me to find my niche. Because had I not met them, I wouldn't have known that building things from scratch and prototyping was even something that data science offers as a career. So yeah, definitely having mentors is a great thing, especially in your first job. I would say that have them for the rest of your life, but I think it's great to have someone else to, let's say, use, or someone else to have as a sounding board, or even just to discuss tech with, to discuss methodologies with, to discuss approach, to brainstorm, right? To have as a sparring partner. I think it's very healthy to have that and to have multiple perspectives to just, like, I guess, stay up to date with whatever is happening in the industry or even with your own career. Okay, so the next learning that I had, again, this is something that I will definitely take back with me and use for the rest of my career, which is that my career or your career is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think that was a very important learning for me, because I was very like go in my first job. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to like pack myself with all kinds of tasks, all kinds of projects, learn all the time, be on the go, and keep hustling. In hindsight, I find that very stupid, because life is not like that. Life is never always hustling. You need to have low periods as well. You need to have rest periods as well. You don't always have busy, exciting moments. You also have boring, mundane moments in life. And similarly in your job as well. But also the nice thing is that you have, let's say you start working in your 20s, you probably retire when you're 60. So you have like 40 years of like working a job and having a career. And 40 years is a long time, and there is so much that you can do in 40 years. It's just that you don't have to do all of that in 5 years in the 5 years of your 20s. So I think just like taking a step back and looking at your career as a marathon in the biggest sense possible helps you slow down and kind of gain more faith and more peace that your career will eventually work itself out, even if you're not in a place that you like. It will change as long as you're making an effort. But I think it also helped, especially me, it also helped me get over my imposter syndrome slightly, because I've been blessed with incredible colleagues in both my first job and my current job. And especially in my first job, I always felt so inadequate and so out of place that I used to question if I'm even like intellectually capable of doing well in my job, because I had such amazing colleagues. But I think reminding myself that those colleagues have spent a lot more time working and they've had a much longer career than me, I think it also helped me like put things in perspective that eventually I will get there. It's just not today. And as long as I make a constant conscious effort, I will be fine and I will get there. So I think that was also very, very helpful for me, like just to keep it in the back of my mind whenever my imposter syndrome or my insecurities pop up. Yeah, I think one other learning that I will also keep coming back to for the rest of my career is that learning never stops. You'll never know everything. You will never be perfect in your job, and just accept it, and just like go with it and try your best every day. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect in their jobs, so it's okay as long as like you're doing well, you're learning, you're making your best effort, you're being genuine. I think it's fine. You'll get where you need to be eventually. The other learning that I wanted to share, especially with the data science career or a career in tech, which I only like realized a few months ago, was that I should like start becoming more comfortable with uncertainty, because the tech industry has been extremely volatile for the last many years, especially with the advent of AI. Things have been very volatile, things have been fluctuating a lot. There are a lot of new jobs in the market, but a lot of people are getting laid off. There's no real stability, the dream of making it in tech is no longer is no longer as aspirational as it like maybe used to be in the 90s or in the 2000s. So I think just having the ability to like, or just like making peace with the uncertainty that the market and the industry offers is, I think, an important emotional skill to have, or an emotional stage to reach. And also I think added to that, I would say having the ability to embrace risk, I think, is very, very, very important. I think it's important to take informed and calculated risks in your career, because choosing to consciously stay safe and stay in your comfort zone in itself is an extremely blind risk. Because if you stayed in that extremely comfortable job that you've been doing for the last, I don't know, many years, and that you can even maybe like do it in your sleep, means that you do not belong there, because you've outgrown that position to do something more intellectually challenging for you. And just knowing when it is the right time for you to leave is very important. That reminds me of what Bunny tells in Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. Sahi time deke cut lena chahiye, because I think it's important for your own growth, and just to keep that risk, that muscle alive in your body that learns to embrace risk and like take that into account with your life. I think that is also very important. So yes, I think this is all the things that I wanted to share about my data science journey so far. Of course, this is going to change. There's going to be so much more up ahead for me. I'm just a beginner in this career, and I have so much more to look forward to. But before we go, I wanted to end with a very cute anecdote, a very cute story. Wait, I'll just be back. Okay, so I wanted to share this story about this book actually. So it's so funny, because though I said that I did not get into my bachelor's with the idea of pursuing a data science career. My brother, he gifted me this book which is called Dear Data on my 18th birthday. So this was like right before I started my bachelor's, and I love this book. I think it's a beautiful book. It's so much fun, but it also captures so much like the essence of what it is to be working in the field of data. It's a very approachable book, and it's basically like two friends within the data science industry that write letters to each other every week for a whole year, where they're like measuring a very certain aspect of their life. So like I think one of the weeks they measure how much water they drank, or how many times they, I don't know, opened the door. Like, yeah, they were basically measuring a bunch of different things every week. And then the way they visualize all of that data and share with each other, and what insights they get from the data that they have collected. So it was a very fun book for me, and it was kind of like my first point of interaction with data, and I was like instantly so mesmerized by it, and I was like, wow, you can actually gain insights from collecting data. I don't think I ever thought about data in that sense. And also like the way they visualize those data points is so creative, and very artistic as well. So yeah, this is my first step, or my first point of interaction with data science. And it's so funny that I got into my bachelor's without even knowing that data science is what I'll end up doing. So yes, this book is extremely special for me. And yeah, I wanted to share that little story, that little anecdote of how life is like, full circle. This is like subtle foreshadowing into what I will eventually end up doing with my career. But yes, that brings me to the end of this video. And I hope that the learnings that I have shared have resonated with you in one way or another, and that it has ignited something in you. It's given you some food for thought. Yeah, do let me know in the comments below if that is the case. And I'm also curious to know what it is to pursue data science careers in other countries, like let's say in India, or in the US, or in Ireland, or yeah, anywhere else in the world, because I can imagine that my career, my learnings, and my journey has to do a lot with my education in India, and the, let's say, the job market and the data science industry in the Netherlands. So I'm sure that a data science career in another country or another geography looks very, very different to mine, and I'm very curious to know what it how different it is, or how similar it is. So yeah, please let me know if there are any such differences or similarities you see, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.